right, y'all ready? Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order this March 26, 2025 regular board meeting of the Pullman Public Schools Board of Directors. We will begin with our flag salute. Ms. Amanda Tanner, will you lead us, please?
Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. All right, next I'd like to read our land acknowledgement statement. Pullman Public Schools reside on the homelands of the Nimiipuu Nez Perce people. We express our deepest respect for and gratitude towards the original and current stewards of this land, and we acknowledge our role in building mutual respects and connections to support current and future generations. Next, we'll approve the agenda. Dr. Maxwell, are there any changes to the agenda this evening?
Just to let you know that there was a payroll warrant authorization that was added as a consent agenda item, and the FFA was not available tonight to do a presentation, so I think you found out about that earlier, but just want to clarify that in case that was a question from somebody. So,
Thank you very much.
I move approval of the agenda as amended.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda as amended. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, the motion passes. Next, we'll go to reports, correspondence, and programs, and we'll begin with our ASB rep, Connor.
Okay. Another 2 weeks.
So since the last school meeting, we've really started working on end of year stuff, and I think our constitution has been sent to you guys for approval today. I think. And then other things we've been doing is helping AAPI Club advertise their multicultural night, where they get, it's a ton of countries and like 6 of 7 continents together and just like celebrate cultures. That's on April 18th at 6:30 p.m. The other thing we've been working on recently is helping Environmental Club with their Earth Day celebration, which Earth Day is on April 22nd, and I'm not quite sure completely what they're doing for that, but I should have more by the next school board meeting. And then finally, we've also been working on our, beginning our election season for this year. And that starts Friday when our exec interest meeting happens, for anyone who's interested for running for exec next year. And then April 14th is when, and then the election happens on April 18th. And then straight into class elections, which the interest meeting is on April 23rd, and the election is on May 9th. And then that's kind of it. I got graduation. Not very much left.
Does anyone have any questions for Connor?
If we have comments about the Constitution or
Yeah.
if there are bylaws, who do we?
Probably me or Miss Willie.
Okay,
Probably Miss Willie though.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. Awesome.
Anybody else? Good question, Craig.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks,
Thank
Connor.
you.
Have a good evening. Okay, next we'll go to board reports, and I'll start with Craig.
No report.
Oh, thank you. Lisa?
Yeah, I just wanted to briefly report that Jefferson Elementary had a very successful family engineering night last Thursday. Consistent pattern that offering dinner is really good for attendance and also really good teamwork and participation from families. That's it.
Thank you very much. Aaron?
Let's see, last Thursday we met with the finance committee again. It's part of our monthly meetings. Craig and I were there with the administrative group that's attending also. Just again, kind of going through the updates. There's not a lot of change to report. I mean, things are still looking pretty good. There's still a lot though we've got to see what passes through the state, what passes through federal. So yeah, really just like I say, we're sitting fairly well now, but I think over the next probably couple meetings we'll be diving in a little deeper on where we actually probably the next meeting will be the biggest discussion on where we actually have to start looking if we need to make any reductions or cuts to different things. So, you know, hopefully as we start having those discussions, we can keep you all informed on what those discussions are. But up till now, it's just kind of been, you know, updates on where we're at and how things are looking. Also was with Dr. Maxwell this morning with Lincoln Middle School staff when we did the survey similar to what's been done with the rest of the staff and with the community. So just to note that survey, we had our listening session, and that survey's been sent out to parents as well. So anybody who's listening, if you haven't filled out that survey, we would love your feedback on where that is, or what your interests are. And then also had probably a dozen interactions over the past couple days just about the Pullman High School path, and kind of what's going on with that on construction. I know I reached out to Dr. Maxwell also on that, just to kind of see if we were going to put out an official position as a school district on what our interests in that were, and he did respond and say he did connect with the contractor, and kind of let him know that we officially would like to see that kept. But I think still it is a city project. It is under their planning, and so we still, you know, if you have concerns, still reach out to the city, because they're going to be the ones. I mean, we can, as a school district, as a school board, we can, you know, write and say we would like to keep it, but that's just our position. The city's going to have the final say on what might happen there. So keep reaching out to the city on that, but at least we were able to let them know we had, you know, a pretty definitive interest in keeping that, if possible.
Thank you, Aaron. Amanda?
No report.
Yeah, I also do not have a report. And so before we move to the superintendent's report, I'm going to ask the Kamiak Elementary students and Principal Hecker up, just to kind of like give them a little cut in line.
Just gotta stay clear here, so you can come over here with me then if you want. Here, come over here. Come on this side, Lauren. Jordan, everybody. Come on this side, over here. No? All right. Right. They don't listen to me at school either. Thanks. Hey, we really appreciate you having us here tonight. Good evening, all. Thank you for allowing us to showcase our professional learning community. Tonight, we want to share with you our recognition as a 2024-2025 Washington State ESEA Distinguished School. And all of our students at Kamiak are incredible, including these fifth graders right here. I asked our fifth grade collaborative team to give me some recommendations of students I could ask who could share a sentence or two about what they think from their perspective makes Kamiak a distinguished school, or why it's a special place in their mind. These kids hold a unique place in my heart, I think in our community. They opened the building with us. They were part of that kindergarten opening that didn't see the end of the school year in person. And then they came back year 2 and opened up an online school as first graders. We welcomed them back about halfway through the year. And it's been a really incredible journey. So we really want to celebrate them. It's the first class to go all the way through. You know, I wrote some words down. They're adaptable, they're resilient. They have a spirit of togetherness like I've never seen before. We learn as much from the kids as I think they learn from us. So thank you for being here tonight, parents. We couldn't do it without you. You guys have been super supportive. But through it all, I really think that togetherness speaks to what it means to be a Kamiak Kestrel. To you guys have really set the tone for everybody. All students who will walk through these walls through the halls, and showing them what it means to grow, to persevere, and to thrive. So again, I thank you. I thank all of our fifth graders. I thought about inviting them all, but then I knew that would hold us up tonight. But congratulations, we're really proud of you. So I'm going to kind of go through the slideshow real quick about like what the criteria at the state level is, but we'll get to the kids here in a minute. So ESEA just stands for Elementary Secondary Education. It's a state program. It recognizes schools who are federally funded as a school-wide Title I program. That's us. We fit that, as well as Jefferson. The audience might not know this. I don't even know if all our school board members notice or know this, but Jefferson Elementary received the national award a few years ago. So we still have room to grow, and that's what we'd like to try to get next, is that a national award. There's 3 categories. There's exceptional student performance and academic growth. There's closing the achievement gap between student groups. And lastly, serving special populations. Our award was exceptional student performance and academic growth. There's really 3 things. I think our commitment to professional learning, our collaborative teams are incredible. They work tirelessly. I've got one of my 5th grade team members, Mrs. McKernan, here. Her team's awesome. I think these 5th graders will probably share some nice words about her and Mr. Kittigwa and Mrs. Poston. With the award comes a grant, and so we get a $15,000 grant. And we've met with our guiding coalition about how we want to use these funds, but really we're going to use the funds to support student learning. We'll use it for professional development. I've invited Mrs. McKernan to a conference in August during during her summer vacation, Professional Learning Communities at Work conference. I'm taking a team to the RTI at Work conference in Spokane. That's response to intervention. These systems and these processes we've been working with for the last several years in our district, and we think that that's a big reason why we continue to grow. So we're gonna keep going to some of these offerings. Keys to our success: collaborative teaching and learning strategies. Thank you for having that embedded time. The late start Mondays are huge for our teams. Our targeted professional development, really just trying to find our focus on what we want to do as a staff and how to support that growth for educators. We have really personalized systems of student support. I think, as we all know, it's not a one-size-fits-all for really anything anymore. And so our teachers, they know that, they take care of that, and they really individualize supports for these kids day in and day out. And then we thank our community. We feel like we have a really strong school family community partnership. So that's our PTA. Our PTA president's here tonight, Katie Bridges. You're right, the food will bring the people. We've learned that at Kamiak, so you are absolutely right. I think we've shared that with Jefferson, but that will bring folks into the building. And fun activities too, I think that's good to promote, and then the learning can happen. But enough about that. Why we're here is for the students. Here they are celebrating together, our 5th grade. I think there's about 62 of them, our 3 teachers from this school year, and I'm going to turn it over to them. They want to speak to Kamiak Elementary.
Hello, my name is Mukhtar Jallo. I am a 5th grader at Kamiak Elementary, and one thing that I feel is really special about Kamiak is the HiCap program, which has helped me exceed as a student. The HiCap program is a program that helps kids who have higher capabilities achieve more. In class, when I finish my work quickly, my teacher will give me extra ideas to how I can expand on my work, extra research to make it better, and extra parts that I can do to make it the best I could possibly produce. I've had 2 main helper teachers with me, Miss Cox and Miss Stevens, who both helped me during my math classes expand on what I've learned and see numbers in a whole new way. In conclusion, I feel that the HiCap program at our school is exceptionally helpful to my growth. Thank you for your time and have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you.
My name is Garrett, and I'm a 5th grader who's been in Kamiak since kindergarten. Some things I like about Kamiak is the teachers have helped me learn and grow, and they make really good food. Some events that they have done, like the glow party, have been really fun to me.
Hi, my name is Emmett, and I've been a in Kamiak ever since kindergarten, and I think Kamiak is a great place for a lot of reasons, but the biggest reason is the people there. The students are kind and helpful, and the teachers and faculty are welcoming and caring.
Hi, my name is Cindy, and I've been here since kindergarten. I think Kamiak is distinguished because Mr. Kittigal helps us learn and try our best. In class, we do fun activities, which makes learning interesting. Everyone is kind and helps us make our school a better place.
Hi, my name is Daisy, and I've been here since kindergarten, and I think our school got distinguished because our teachers work hard every day and make sure we are doing our best. Our students are also very good when it comes to that, by helping out on the playground and being kind to other students who might need more help.
Hi, my name is Aaron. I've been in Kamiak since kindergarten. I think Kamiak is a really good place, a really good school. Everyone's really kind, the teachers are very nice, and they help you a lot with your work.
My name is Lauren Namuimba, and I wrote about what makes Kamiak special. What makes Kamiak special is the variety of books displayed in the library for us to dream and read in. All of the friends we make on the way from kindergarten to 5th grade is what makes me love Kamiak. From the kind teachers to the nice principal, I have found a way to love and share with everyone. In Kamiak, we display kindness and friendship with love and compassion to all the students who walk through the door. We have paved the way to greet other students who feel scared or worried at the way things are. Kamiak is special with all love from directions, so don't be afraid to show your affection. The teachers and people in Kamiak have led me to who I am today with love. From this speech, they taught me a way of showing compassion to students today. This speech represents the love from what makes Kamiak special with kindness and honor. Thank you for reading my presentation.
Hi, my name is Jordan. I've been here since kindergarten. I think Kamiak is a distinguished school because there are amazing learning communities and amazing expectations. My teacher, Emily Poston, has helped me through my challenges by understanding me and providing support. I appreciate the fact that she understands me and my classmates.
Hi, I am Mia. I've been here since kindergarten. I like how all the teachers are so kind. They all help us learn and succeed. Kamiak also helps us keep us safe. I enjoy all the food there is for lunch. Kamiak does an amazing job. I would never be this far without Kamiak.
Hi, my name is Dahlia. I've been here since 2nd grade. I love that Kamiak is welcoming and kind, and all the adults really help you achieve your best.
I just want to thank our families one more time. They got these kids here from baseball, swimming, soccer, dance, track, you name it. I mean, they're here and supportive. Dr. Kramer, Dr. Maxwell, I appreciate your guidance, your leadership, your mentorship. School board, thank you. We couldn't do it without the support of everybody here, so thanks. Thanks for having us. Good night.
Thanks for coming. Thank you all for coming out this evening. Do not feel obligated to stay throughout the meeting. You may leave at any time, or you may stay. We always welcome visitors. So have a good evening. Okay, next we will pass it back to Bob for the superintendent's report. And it's going to be hard to follow that, Bob.
Yeah, mine's not going to be as, I think, entertaining as that was done, well done, but I appreciate it, so. I'll give a little bit to clear out, so.
You're so cute. You're so cute.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. All right, so a couple things on my board report tonight. Just a quick update on the legislative session. They're really down to budgets right now being passed between the House and the Senate. There are some bills that are still alive and going back and forth, and so we'll continue to provide testimony and update on those bills. There are also 5 different tax packages that have been proposed, so really encouraging folks to take a look at those because there are a variety of different taxes. So take a look at that. Working on the federal level, a lot of unknowns, especially lately with the food commodities support for school districts. That $1 billion has been eliminated across the United States. I received some information from our state superintendent on they're trying to figure out what the impact is at the state level because it comes to the state and from the state it comes to the school districts, and we're really trying to find out what that impact will be, and nobody really has a lot of answers. So we're really kind of waiting around to find out what that impact may be. The state legislative session is scheduled to end April 27th. Whether or not that'll happen is we'll have to see, but we're getting close down to the wire. But just want to remind people, even though a bill may be dead, it suddenly can rise to life at the very last minute, which has happened before. So nothing is truly dead until it completely ends. So we'll have to see what happens. But I'll be keeping updates coming in my Friday updates as we learn new things and try to keep people informed. An update on the pathway. Just a couple things I just want to point out to the public. So the pathways that go from Robert Road up to behind the high school at the softball field, they've been there for a long time, but they are on private property. The school district does not own that property. It is private property, and that has been slated for development about, I want to say, 1.5 to 2 years ago. There was a permitting process. The school district, as well as neighbors in that area, did put in preliminary comments in the permitting process. So just to let you know, that did happen, did occur. There were no requirements for easement on that private property. So obviously we found out that they've started construction, and yesterday I had a meeting with one of the developers on that project. There are actually 2. And they were gracious enough to allow us to do a temporary access off Robert Road to the high school until June 13th, which is scheduled to be the last day of school this year. In addition, we are having some conversation about the possibility of a permanent access from across that piece of private property. So although we cannot require that, I have entered into discussions with them to see if there's maybe something that we could work out. So I have another walkthrough scheduled next week with the developers, and to talk a little bit more about a long-range solution. So I will keep you updated as I learn more about that. And again, I just want to say thank you to the developers for being gracious enough to create that. They were hoping to have that access open this afternoon. I don't know if it was open this afternoon. If not, it should be open tomorrow morning. So that's kind of an update on the pathway. I never heard it called the Pullman High pathway, but I guess it is. It's close enough to Pullman High, but I'm not sure it even has an official name, but we're working on it. Just to let you know, the board director, Aaron Carter, had mentioned the budget input survey did go out, and that closes on Friday. So if folks are listening or watching in tonight, please take the opportunity to fill that out before the end of Friday. And then we'll be consolidating those results, and we'll be publishing those back out so we can share with the public and the staff kind of what all the different groups together had designated as their budget priorities. So we'll get that out. And then I want to talk a little bit about the Aquatic Center, and we received a gracious offer from Dr. Schweitzer to purchase the Aquatic Center, and this is a proposal. So I wanted to bring that to your attention, that very generous offer to purchase that and take a look at operating that, again, with the opportunity for the school district to continue to utilize that facility. And so it is not a discussion item tonight nor an action item, but I would like to engage in pursuing that proposal to gather more expert information and explore that possibility, and then come back to the board with some details regarding that offer. So.
I'll pause you really quick. Are there any questions for Dr. Maxwell about that topic? Okay, are we all comfortable with him pursuing, just investigating? Okay, thank you, Dr. Maxwell.
Okay, I will explore that, and I will be bringing that back to you in a more formal update soon.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And again, I want to thank Dr. Schweitzer for always has been a very generous partner with the Pullman School District. So, and I think that concludes my report tonight.
Okay, and then did you do the School Retirees Appreciation Week?
That's coming up first, and then we'll do the.
Oh, sorry, never mind, sorry.
Yep.
I just skipped right over the
I'll get
Recognized National Board Certified Teachers presented by Roberta Kramer. Thank you, Roberta. I apologize.
The number keeps growing. You can see that we have 18 national board certified certified teachers in our school district, 2 of whom are new to us, Shelley Opgenorth and Stephanie Newman. So congratulations to them. You know that, maybe you don't know, that this is a very rigorous process. So we're very proud of our teachers that have not only become new to it, but those that have also, after 10 years, they have to redo the process. And so it's very, very rigorous. What I want to talk to you a little bit about while I'm here tonight is talk to you about what we've started this year as a National Board Certified Teachers cohort. In the past, WSU has hosted a cohort, and they didn't have anybody who wanted to continue to do that. So some folks reached out to us from OSPI and Washington Education Association and said, gosh, we've got a couple people that might be interested in facilitating the cohort. So we have 2 facilitators, Amy Casons, who's a teacher at the middle school, has also taught at the high school, and Wilma Fields, who is an elementary school teacher. Currently, we have 3 teachers that are engaging in the cohort, which means that they are working their way through this very rigorous experience. And what Amy and Wilma then do is they help to facilitate conversations and meetings around it, but also then read the submissions and provide them with feedback. And they're required to, as a part of being a cohort facilitator, they're required to provide at least one piece of feedback in the process, but knowing who they are, they provide more than one. And so, like I said, this is our first time that we're trying this. We pay a small stipend to each of those facilitators out of our Title IV funds, which allows us to really look at the well-rounded educator and also students. So really pleased with that. There's a foundations course and also then each of the components that they need to provide. When I met with Amy and Wilma just recently, they're so excited, and it's just the joy that they bring to the whole process and supporting their colleagues, but also the idea of, we kind of started it a little late this year because we were getting it off the ground after the change at WSU, and just the whole idea of, we've got at least 6 who want to do it next year, and so very excited about this experience. I don't know if through the legislative process, if you've noticed, but the state pays a stipend and a bonus, is what they call a national board bonus. That's kind of like we're not sure what's going to happen with that in our legislature this year. So we're hopeful that that will be continued because that really serves as part of the incentive for our teachers to engage in the process. The other biggest part, I believe, is really their own learning and reflection throughout the process. So just wanted you to be aware that we are doing that this year, and hopefully we will continue it in the future. Okay. I think I'm just going to stand to the side because I'm going to be back in a minute.
Oh, are there any questions for Roberta?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No worries. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Now, school retiree appreciation
Now,
week,
yes, now,
please.
so then, this month is recognized as School Retiree Appreciation Week, which was last week, but I didn't want to miss it. So we didn't have a board meeting last week, but I think it's really important to point out and value and honor those teachers that are now retired and hopefully living a great life, but honoring those dedicated educators and staff and administrators as well who have served our schools and our students over the years. And so we appreciate them. Without them, we wouldn't have what we have today and be where we're at today. So just a heartfelt thank you to all the retirees for their service and dedication, and just can't operate schools without them. So.
And honestly, I've noticed just in this process that you're never quite retired from public schools.
Apparently not. So
I know several principals who retired, and then occasionally principals still. So I don't know how it works exactly, but we're always very thankful for the continued service of our retired staff. So.
Yes, we've had three administrators that are have served in a capacity as fill-in administrators, as well as one is doing bus driver for us. So. Part-time. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to retirement and continuing to work.
Retirement.
So thank you. Just want, as part of my process and work as superintendent, and part of the evidence that's presented as part of my evaluation is also we give an update on conference week, and so I wanted to share those results. We finally have those tabulated, and so if you look fall to spring conference totals, so you can see we have Kamiak up there, and also the Jefferson Jaguars. Fall to spring attendance rates, or conference rates, excuse me. I'm going to get to attendance in a second. But so this is an indicator of who came to family conferences, and you can see that we maintained a very high rate. Kamiak actually saw a slight increase in the spring, which typically that's better weather and people typically traveling, so that was good to see. And a little bit with Jefferson Jaguar, just slightly down a tad, but again, those are really excellent results when you have mid-90% of your entire parent population or guardian population taking the time to come to conferences. So
it's awesome.
You can see here we have Franklin Foxes and Sunnyside Superstars, and again, just very, very high rates across the board. And so, in this particular group, the lowest is 95.2. So really good turnout. And by the way, if folks are not able to make that, we do follow up and offer an opportunity for those folks to still have an opportunity to conference. So. Then the other is average attendance rates, and so these are an average. One of the things that we are working on, we're trying to separate those that are excused or unexcused. So sometimes you're going to notice in high school it seems to dip down to 91. Part of that is we have students that are traveling to sporting events, other events, competitions, and different things. So. We're trying to figure out a way to how we can disaggregate that in an easy manner. But again, when you're looking at the attendance rates, those are really, really good attendance rates for this day and age across the state of Washington. You've heard a lot probably about chronic absenteeism and how that's really impacting schools. And we're still working on that. We have definitely students we are encouraging to come to school and need to come to school, but if you look at our average, you're still very, very high. And so that's due to the hard work of our counselors, our building administrators, our teachers, even I would say paraeducators, encouraging those students to be there each day so we can help them to continue to be successful. So again, very, very, very good rates across the board. Of course, we'd like that to be 100%, but
If I may ask a clarifying question, so do these attendance rates include excused absences?
yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is like people in class regardless,
Yes.
like excused, unexcused. Okay, perfect. Thank you. That's actually really good. You're right.
So one of the things we are trying to take a look at is who may be some of those more folks that we need to take a look at and spend some extra time encouraging them to see what supports they need as they come to school and come to school regularly, because that does impact. Also want to share free and reduce lunch percentages. That's one of the key indicators that we take a look at. You can kind of see the 25, 26. These are preliminary, so they're based on October to March 14th. So this changes, by the way, as you kids move in, kids move out. So it's this fluctuates a little bit. So, but you can also look at what the final was for 24, 25, and that would be October. And then you look at 23, 24 final, just to give you an idea. And then we do a 3-year average, because that's one of the things we also track and look at. And so you can see it at Franklin, at Jefferson, at Kamiak, Sunnyside, Lincoln, and Pullman High School. And of course, these numbers have greatly increased over the years across the board in our district. And one of the things that we are taking a little closer look at Kamiak, because right now they're at 49.74. If they get to 50, then we could apply for additional funding. So we're going to take a look at that and see have we correctly captured all those kids that might be eligible, so we can take advantage of maybe getting some extra funding there. So as long as that funding continues, I should add. So that could change. But again, just to give you that, and of course, looking at middle school and high school, that's always an area. These are slightly better to a degree than we've had in the past. We're really trying to encourage students that are eligible to complete the paperwork, because I'm sure we have more students that could qualify that are indicated there. So a slight difference of 0.79%, almost 1% up from last year.
Are there any questions for Dr. Maxwell? Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, and now I believe, right, hold on. So did we do, now we're doing maintenance facilities asset preservation program, correct?
And then we're going to do
okay, and then
administrative intern, and then we're going to do
okay, because we moved Kamiak. Yep. So Justin, please come up. Maintenance facilities asset preservation.
Good evening, everyone. So time for our yearly update and talk about the APP. So for me, I've learned a lot this year going through the process of what goes into this. And for me, learning a lot about the schools and what we need to do to keep them things moving forward and making sure that we're staying up on issues that arise as they come facilities-wise. So first of all, what is the asset prevention program? Well, it's an OSPI mandated system, and it's designed to ensure that we're doing what we need to do to make sure that our schools are continuing to function and we're not letting things slip off. This helps protect the investment that our public makes in our schools. And, I was thinking about this tonight coming up. I was a kid that went to school, elementary through high school, at least one every other year was in a portable. And it's pretty nice that our kids do not have to go through portables in the system at Pullman School District, which is really, really special. So we want to continue to do a good job with the buildings that we have and take care of those buildings. And why does this program matter? Well, because it's going to extend the life of our buildings. It's going to maximize the taxpayer investment. We want to take care of the money that our taxpayers invest in what we're doing, and saying that they want to continue to support our schools, and we want to make sure we're doing a good job of making those buildings last. It also aligns with sustainability goals, and it supports, student and staff well-being. If we have students in warm when they need to be and cool when they need to be buildings that are well taken care of, it's going to help our students be productive. Okay? Next piece is just requirements for school districts. And so there's an annual inspection report that needs to happen right around this time of year, which is why we also do this report this time of year. And there's a facility condition ratings. And so the schools are assigned to, basically they get a score, they get a grade. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. And then there's long-term maintenance plans. So we have to make sure that we're planning ahead for things that are going to happen. Our buildings are going to deteriorate over time. What are we doing to put things in place to help them last, and then have a plan for when they are at end of life? And if we don't do those things, there is a potential funding impact that could happen, but we're going to do everything we can to avoid that. So recent facility conditions ratings for us is, so these are done yearly. Maintenance staff, and I'll participate in this, and we do it every year, but every 6 years we have a certified person come in and go through the buildings and give a really deep dive into the buildings and what's going on. Example, believe it or not, it's been already 6+ years since this high school was finished, and so they just recently just had a certified assessment of PHS, and no surprises, it scored very well, scored at 97.86%. Next slide, hopefully you've got your glasses ready. This is really small, but I'll talk you through it. So there's a few pages that go on with this, and if you can see up here, because like we're taking an eye test, but there's some letters up here, okay? And those are for the ratings. So it's exceptional, it's good, it's fair, it's poor, or unsatisfactory. And if you can tell, it's really faint because it was locked, because it was done by an outside person, not by Pullman School District. And so this is a locked document, but these are shaded in here, right? So these are all excellent scores here that we got. A couple of things are in the 90s, which were good instead of
It's this window right here.
Yes, and that's what it is, because we have some issues with some of the windows. And so those are things that we watch and then take care of as we go forward. There's also a spot, so when we do it as a district, or when someone from the outside comes in, you can tell that it was Ned Warnick that did it this last summer in August. There's a spot where they can go and put in pictures of things that they may be concerned about. And they can just document some things and also post some questions. So just send some things to watch as we go through the process. I'll let you quit squinting on that one. And just for us, so some recent facility conditions ratings. This is from what we've done as a department, as our maintenance department, working on things, and also from the outside that folks have seen and noticed and are documenting. And so for Jefferson, we've got some roofing and HVAC and lighting that are in that fair. So they're not exceptional, they're not good, they're fair, leaning towards poor. Okay, and then for Franklin, parking lot, roofing, lighting was fair, and then HVAC was considered poor. So that's one that we really need to start watching and working with. And then Sunnyside, again, not a surprise, a few more things: flooring, roofing, exterior doors, lighting, wall, ceiling finishes, parking lot were all fair. And the thing with Sunnyside is, again, not a surprise, but there are lots of things that are leaning that direction. That's the oldest building in the district that has students in it. So there are things leaning that way. Again, not a surprise. And so for us, for future plans, what we want to look at for improving, obviously we want to look at JS and FES, their HVAC systems, and make sure that we're taking care of those. We want to extend the life up to a point, but then eventually we're going to need to replace. Sunnyside, of course, has some issues, and part of it's the parking lot area with the asphalt, also the multi-purpose room. There's some moisture in the slab there. Jefferson and Franklin, the roof systems are reaching that point of needing some attention. Pioneer Center, that's kind of always on the list for windows and HVAC in the old portion of the building. And then, of course, the Aquatic Center, which we discussed earlier. And one thing, too, that is on our mind is that Jefferson and Franklin are really close in age and are aging out kind of at the same time. And so that will be a challenge for us when we get to that point. They're both pushing that, getting closer to that 30-year lifespan, and they're deteriorating at about the same time. So that will be a lot to tackle when we get to that point. And I think that's it. So any questions that I can help answer? Yeah.
Amanda?
So on the future planning of a building like Sunnyside,
Yeah.
when do we decide to plan to get a new school versus continue fixing and patching what we already
I think
have?
that's a great question. And so that's where we do that work with those folks and to tell us where we're getting towards the end of the life. And I think Bob wanted to add something there too.
Yeah, I can help when you're
Yeah.
done, so.
Yeah, go ahead.
So actually, one of the things that Diane and I had met earlier this week is, one of the things that we look at is end of life of the building. We also look at what would be our bond capacity. And so what we really want to do is tend to wait for a bond to drop off before we add another bond on, so it doesn't hopefully change the price that our taxpayers are paying. So just a reminder to our community and to the board, we have 60 acres that we own for future schools, plural, or facilities, or, it's big enough to hold at least 2 schools if we ever need it in the future. And that was an investment that the board made, and a very wise investment. So, with Sunnyside, we have property. You could always take a look at using the existing property, but as Justin noted, there are some moisture issues. And it's really in a landlocked area that doesn't have really good access in and out of that site necessarily. But those are all things to consider in the future. So we always are trying to look out in the future to try to plan those out. And as Justin had mentioned, we also have 2 other buildings that were built at about the same time. So again, really looking at phasing those on a long-term plan so that the impact on taxpayers and our community members isn't great. So we try to plan those way out in advance.
And just to follow up on that, how many years in advance are we?
So we think we were talking about maybe 2032 for Sunnyside.
And that would be for the bond running?
Right.
Not the construction or anything, that would be. So you're pushing, what, 5 years on from bond to door?
Oh, no, we could do much quicker.
Much quicker?
Yeah.
Much quicker, that's very optimistic.
I have another follow-up question on that. So if a bond passes in 2032, when does construction start? Like the next year?
It possibly could, depending on if we front-load the design or back-load the design.
So there's a few variables.
So there's variables. Typically, we tend to front-load them because then we have a better idea of the cost. So that would be my recommendation, because that has worked very well for us. We've been able to complete every project on time and every project on or under budget. When you do it on the back end, all kinds of unknowns could come up. So Lincoln was one of those that we hit the timing just perfect, because if you may not remember, all of a sudden steel went through the roof, literally, and that was one of the last things we were waiting for, was the steel beams to arrive to finish the commons area. Diana, I don't know if you want to add on that at all?
I don't. So our biggest, the bond refunding we did falls off in 2032. And so the conversation we had was that would be the best time to look at Sunnyside at that time. So we probably need to start planning about 2030.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in the meantime, we would do things, example, like the parking lot was one of the things on the list. Wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to rip up that entire parking lot and put a fresh, right? We would do little things to patch some of those things and make sure that we're sustaining to get to that timeline.
Thank you.
So the Franklin, the POR HVAC system?
Yeah.
Is that gonna last until 2030?
That's a good question.
Is that the hope?
That's a hope, but we're gonna look at that. We actually were looking at grant stuff earlier that ended up falling through, funding wise. But, so we'll continue to do that. Because if we can get something that will last us a while to get us through several more years, that would be the best option for us.
And just because I'm not familiar with the rating scale, is a POR like at risk of imminent failure, or is a POR just like it's run down and not in greatest repair?
So it's option 2, because there's even there's the unsatisfactory after that. So POR is getting
so
down
close,
there.
though.
It is close, and so they would then go to unsatisfactory after that, and then we would really need to.
Okay.
We would need to do something with it right away.
So just for planning purposes, it could potentially become an issue at any time, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it's on that brink.
It is on we will keep watching it, and at the same time while we watch it, we are making plans. Like I said, we were looking at grants that didn't quite happen then, but we'll continue to look at things that we can do to try to find some funding to make that go. Because I don't think, we're talking about like a 2032 for Sunnyside. I don't think we're thinking that early for Franklin and Jefferson. So we want to put some things in place that could last maybe another 10 years of an HVAC system, something like that, to extend.
Thank you for that clarification.
And just to add, so as Justin mentioned, we are applying for what they're called as small schools modernization grants. And so we do apply for those. So many school districts are struggling with upkeep and maintenance that they've dedicated some additional money to that. So we're hoping to take advantage of that. And so, and just a side note, just, important, when you rate something poor doesn't mean it doesn't last long. I like to point out the boiler in our district office from 1937 is still working, and I would not classify that as in good shape. It's important and keeps working, and sometimes it works when we don't want it to work, and sometimes, but we make it limp along. So, but yeah, someday that will probably not last. So.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you very much, Justin.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, next I'd like to ask Dr. Roberta Kramer to present on administrative intern projects.
Okay, every year, right about this time, we have the pleasure of introducing our administrative interns. And this year, I'm happy to introduce to Marky Buffview. Marky is a fourth grade teacher at Sunnyside Elementary School. And Pam would have loved to have been here tonight, but it's her daughter's sports banquet. So we are going to graciously allow her to not be here. But Marky has done a great job, and she's here to share a couple of her projects.
Welcome.
Hello, she already introduced me. But yes, I'm working with Pam at Sunnyside Elementary. I do teach fourth grade as well. And so we've been working on a couple different things. I took over the PBIS, which is pretty much expectations in the school with a positive viewpoint on it. So not like reprimanding, but positively reinforcing the good things that students are doing. And in that, we went through and we broke down our whole school and we built a matrix, which is pretty much like a foundational contract that says, this is what the school's expectations are for all of these areas within the school. And we do that at the beginning of the year. We do a PBIS roundup, so our teachers teach absolutely every expectation for any of the like spaces around the school. So like car pickup zone, bus zone, the playground, the cafeteria, all of them. And so we went through and we made sure all of those were up to date and did a bunch of stuff with that. And then we actually made, I'll pass these out, you can see them. But these are like, we call them like our quick and easies. But they go to all of our like subs and all of our teachers. So that way everybody's on the same pages. So the blue one's inside the school and the yellow one's outside the school.
What an excellent idea.
And so they go, I should have brought my lanyard in, but they just clip onto your lanyard, or we have little sleeves that they can go in. Because a lot of like, some of our teachers have recess duties, some of them have like after school duties. Then all of our subs have different spaces in the school that they need as well. So we took our matrix and we kind of condensed it to fit into a little source that could be given out at like an easily accessible thing. And we feel like it's been really, really well because some expectations that we always think are expectations, if you're distracted or you're doing something different, even teachers will forget about it sometimes. And so it was just a easy, quick way for everybody to be on the same page. And so that's been really fun. We got those out, so they've been working well. And then one other thing that I've been doing is I took over student council as well. And so we've been trying to mesh the expectations of PBIS with our student council students. So we're currently in the works of making videos that will show off the students, but they'll be teaching the things that we normally teach at the beginning of the year. So they'll be teaching how you're supposed to act in car zone, how you're supposed to act in the cafeteria, and we're gonna turn them into films that teachers can use throughout the year to reinforce expectations. And the student council kids are absolutely loving it. It's really fun. But eventually I'll be able to get those out and I'll send them to the board once they're done. But yeah, we did the hallway one this week and they were like, so we're serious? We can run down the hall to show what we're not supposed to do? Like, sure, we can run down the hall to show what you're not supposed to do. So it's just fun. They're enjoying it. And then in January, we've always talked about possibly having a new, like redo the PBIS roundup because we come back after winter break and there's a lot of people that are like, oh, our kids are not following these expectations or doing these things. And so we have always talked about doing that, but with the videos, it kind of gives us that ability for each teacher to be able to reteach everything on their own time frame. But yeah, I love Sunnyside, and I really hope we don't have to move schools, but we'll see. Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Any questions, I guess?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
And next, Dr. Roberta Kramer with the curriculum adoption update.
This is one slide. Okay.
My favorite
So,
presentations.
probably one of the last times you'll hear me talk about this. Finally figured out that I could just put it all on one slide and it works a lot better. So you can see in English language arts, math, social studies, science, world languages, and social emotional learning, you can see at elementary, middle, and high the years that we've adopted materials. Okay? There's 2 of them that are red. And I think we've got to stop and say, how are we going to address those 2 areas? You'll notice the first one being at middle school English language arts. I've had the conversation with the middle school leaders, and they're working with their team around starting to identify potential materials. And I even suggested we could look at a rolling adoption where we start maybe with 6th grade and then we add 7th and then we add 8th grade because of the budget challenges. And when we were able to do math and ELA at the or at the elementary level, both in 2021, okay, that was the exception. That doesn't happen very often in a school district. And so we've got to look at what we're going to do in middle school language arts. And so that's our first stop. You also see the high school is the same year, but that's not red. And it's because they have a lot of supplemental materials that they use at the high school. So it's a very different thought process. The middle school in 2006 was an anthology, big, thick book that, you know, has all kinds of stories and materials in it. Those are kind of not the cool thing to use anymore. They're not engaging for kids. So we're really looking at what else could we use. Math, we're all feeling great. Elementary social studies, 2006. That's another place that's glaring. I would recommend too with that one that we look at a rolling adoption. Maybe we do K2 and then, or K1, maybe we do K2, really do primary well, and then 3-6 or 3-5. I think that it's doable. What we did in the last 2006, I wasn't here. Craig, you were here, but that at that time there's different books that were purchased as a way to support the learning standards. I have no idea how we want it to look now. So that'll have to be a whole process like we used, very similar to elementary ELA and math, where it's going to have to be a lot of study of the standards. The standards, the revised social studies standards are not going to be out for a couple more years, but it doesn't mean that we can't start to get into it because they're not going to go too far off of where they are right now, and that's at least in my belief system. You can see world languages. We did a big adoption in 2017, and science has kind of been this interesting place where we've been. We at first high school didn't want to do any ads, then they asked for some ads, so those happened in 2019, and then our social emotional materials are all up to date. Questions?
Go ahead, Greg.
Just about elementary science. That's when I left was in 2018. And we kind of did a stopgap mystery science adoption.
And
what did we do after that?
That's currently what we're still using. It might not be the best solution, but it's the most engaging solution I think that might be out there. Kids love it. And so that was kind of our stopgap, seeing if more things have come along. I think one of the concerns I have around science especially is that a lot of the efforts that come in science curriculum come from federally funded grants. Now, University of Idaho, for example, or WSU, where there'll be a grant in science education, and then they'll look at materials, and they'll create materials and things like that. A lot of those things have gone and will continue to go away. And so really seeing new materials is going to be a struggle there. That's just my prediction.
Because as our standards in science have ratcheted up with cross-cutting standards and all those things, the material has stayed pretty static.
Yes, it has, yeah.
Do we have a timeline or plan for the 2006s with the curriculum adoption group?
Well, my recommendation will be that with middle, we would start that as soon as possible, and we've started those conversations at middle, but we're going to have to decide what we can afford, and so is it a rolling adoption? And then same with social studies, it'll have to be a discussion about how are we going to do that? Are we going to just bite off a part of the elephant at a time? All budgets have been impacted, including those that we've used to purchase materials. So we'll just have to have that conversation moving forward.
Thank you very much, Roberta. Are there any other questions?
Well,
Go ahead,
just a comment that, ELA and math and science we get tested on, but social studies is the reason we have school.
Yes.
The reason we have school is to have as an educated populace and all of those things. So our reason for existing is social studies, but we don't really get tested the same way in
Yes.
social studies. So I'm glad that we're paying attention to that.
Thank you, Roberta. I appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Oh, I'll be back.
Oh, yeah, you're here. Never mind. Next, our equity and belonging update. And so I'll start with Craig.
Through a Herculean effort of the DEI committee, they got a survey out before conferences. So during conferences, they were people were given a way to take that. So we got some good participation in that, thanks to Courtney. And that we will be looking at the results come our next meeting in April.
Thank you, Craig.
Things are
Dr.
moving
Maxwell?
forward.
Well, actually Connor took mine, which was just a reminder that we're working on the multicultural night at Pullman High School. If you have not been, I would highly suggest you try to come. It is grown exponentially over the years, I should say, and it's just really, really phenomenal that is student designed and driven. So, in partnership with WSU, don't want to leave them out. So.
Cool. Thank you both for that. And do we have someone signed up to speak this evening? And would anyone like to speak this evening? It's their last chance. Okay, nice. Then I will forgo reading the public comment statement because it's quite lengthy. And we will move to our consent agenda. To expedite business at a board meeting, the board approves the use of a consent agenda, which includes items considered to be routine in nature. Any item which appears on the consent agenda may be removed from the agenda by a member of the board and voted on separately. The remaining items will be voted on by a single motion. Would anyone like to adjust the consent agenda this evening?
I move approval of the consent agenda.
Can I have one question?
Oh, yeah. Hold on. There's been a motion, so
Yeah.
we're going to deal with that, and then we'll go to questions.
Okay.
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda. Are there any questions on the motion?
Only as it applies to the ASB Constitution. There's just some grammar things going on in there. Could I just forward those? Well, once we pass it, then it's.
We can do
we're stuck for another
non-substantive
year.
changes with
They're
grammatical.
non-substantive.
Yeah, as long as they're non-substantive, you can just
Like,
send them to them and
It
be like,
refers
"It's
to a
fine."
quorum, but it doesn't say what a quorum is. So those kinds of things are in the Constitution. That doesn't seem that substantive.
You could send those, because they're non-substantive
Yeah,
changes.
okay,
You could send those
perfect.
to Erin Willie, and then
Perfect.
ask her to make those corrections, and then we could put that in as an informational item. when we're
That's
done
true.
with it.
Okay.
And we'll go ahead and just approve the final
If you want
copy.
to go that direction.
They're all going to be very boring. But
All right, thank you for that question, Craig. Okay, are there any other questions on the motion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, the motion passes. Next, we'll move to action items. They have been previously discussed by the board, and the board will now choose to take action. We'll begin with the 2025-2026 Lincoln Middle School and Pullman High School fee schedules.
Thank you very much. So again, presented this at the last board meeting 2 weeks ago. I have not had any questions or changes regarding that, and so I'll present those as they are noted, which there was a little bit changes to the PHS fee schedule, but not to the LMS schedule. So.
Are there any questions? Oh, go ahead, Craig.
I was going to make the motion.
Oh, please, absolutely.
I move that we approve the 2025-2026 LMS and PHS fee schedules.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the 2025-2026 LMS and PHS fee schedules. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
That motion passes. Next, we'll move to 2025-26 middle school and high school course approvals with Dr. Roberta Kramer.
Okay. I don't believe that there have been any changes made since the last time we were here to talk about it.
Are there any questions for Dr. Kramer?
I move approval of the 2025-2026 Lincoln Middle School and Pullman High School course approvals.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the 2025-2026 Lincoln Middle School and Pullman High School course approvals. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes. Thank you, Roberta. Next, we'll move to Resolution 25-2602, the 2025-2026 Annual WIAA Membership.
Yeah, so again, this was presented at our last board meeting, and this is an annual requirement in order for us to participate in sports and activities. So I haven't had any questions or comments submitted since that time.
Are there any questions for Dr. Maxwell? Or Amanda?
No, I move approval of Resolution 25-2602, the 2025-2026 Annual WIAA Membership.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve Resolution 25-2602 for our 2025-2026 Annual WIAA Membership. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, the motion passes. Thank you very much. We do not have any discussion items this evening, and so we will move straight to informational items. Informational items do not require action or discussion by the board. The items are included in the agenda for the board to review and may be moved to the discussion item sections of the board agenda by any board member. Informational items may include board procedure updates and non-substantive policy updates. Would anyone like to remove anything from the informational items? Okay, next we will proceed into an executive or closed session for how long, you think?
20 minutes.
All right, so we will proceed beginning at 7:40 up until 8 o'clock. Thank you all very much.